Greetings, friends. This week I am doing something different. Over the past 2 years, I have been sharing my written works, such as poems and short stories, on the vocal media platform. During these past 2 years, I have become friends with several very talented writers, and I would like to introduce a few of them to you. Welcome, Melissa Ingoldsby. Welcome, Ward Norcutt, and welcome, Joe Patterson.
Well, hello and good morning back to you, Rick. Hi, everybody else.
Rick, thanks for having us on, and we really appreciate you. Have a good one.
Today I have 3 questions for each one of you. The first 2 will be the same. The third question will be unique to each of you. Let's do it! Okay, so please introduce yourselves to our viewers.
This is the part that you edit out because I don't know what I'm doing. I've lost your questions. Oh my God. Where did you go? You've abandoned me. There you are. I was a drama teacher for years, and I taught English and theater arts for 22 years. And I've produced and directed probably about 100 plays. I won a first place challenge on vocal for a poem about a dream. I wrote a poem called The Topsy-Turvy Man. It was really, really well received. And a couple other runner-up pieces with some haikus and a short story. I have 3 plays that you can access electronically on the web. If you look at the Canadian Play Outlet, you can find A Baker's Dozen, a staged reading, and Once Upon a While. 2 one-act comedies, and Baker's Dozen is full-length drama. I want to create pieces, plays, poems, stories that are interesting and entertaining, and pull the reader, watcher into the story, and they leave having felt something, hopefully something that I've intended for them to feel.
Hello, I am Melissa Ingoldsby, and I am honored and very privileged to be on the Rick Hendry Christopher vocal video interview show. I hope I don't want to get the name wrong, but either way, I'm very honored to be a part of this. So a little bit about me. I'm a 32-year-old mother of 2. I have a 6-year-old son named Noah and a 13-year-old son named Ismael. And I live in the Midwest. I live in St. Louis. That's with the St. Louis Arch, the famous St. Louis Arch, and we have lots of famous things such as flat pizza with Provel cheese. So that's always fun. The Mississippi River. We are very fun out here, very interesting. No, not really, but we are, in general, it's a very humid, hot, kind of just like farming region. So I am an author for Resurgence Novels. I just recently signed a contract with them this year. This was my first contract ever for any of my books, and basically it's for my horror romance drama novel, I Am Bexley, which is a zombie apocalypse novel. I also started here on vocal a couple years ago, and that's really how I got all my stories started again and how I got my voice back, my author voice.
Hey everybody. Hey Rick, thank you for having me. This is Joe Patterson here, and I'm a writer. I've been writing my whole life basically. If you wanted to ask what my goal was, is pretty much, it sounds campy, but it's to be one of the greatest writers that ever lived. And I write all kind of stories. I like to write fiction. I like to write about nonfiction, reviews. I like to write screenplays, music stories. I like to put my foot in some of everything. I'm definitely working on my first novel right now. It's based on a big event that happened in my life. And I just hope that one day I can make books that, end up having the same impact as a lot of the writers that inspired me growing up, doing whatever it was they did, writing for whoever it was they wrote for, and touching, so many audiences, different people. They'll read it and they'll get something from it that's meaningful, and it'll have a lasting impact.
What do you feel is your best story or poem, and why?
My favorite story that I thought was my best one was a story I wrote called The Hip Hop Express. It's a story about these four guys that get stuck on this train where it's a life or death situation where they got to recite their favorite hip hop songs, and if they don't get it right, they die. And it sounded, I guess it kind of sounded corny, and just thinking about it, but once I actually put it on the pen and pad, it ended up to me being my best story. It was for that runaway train challenge we had, and everybody who I let read it really loved it a lot. And I think I was probably who loved it the most, though, and I thought that was my best story. And the reason why is because it was so suspenseful. It was like, even though I knew it was going to happen because I wrote it, it still was like unbelievably good. I was like, man, I actually wrote this. This is a pretty good story.
Certainly, my most successful piece has certainly been Topsy Turvy Men, the Nightmare poem that I wrote.
One of my best poems is Swamp Thing, because it has I got a top story for that, and then has 399 views, and I think like 59 hearts or 52 hearts, I'm not sure, but it has my highest views, like my highest amount of reads on it. So basically, I used to be really into like the gothic culture. I still am. I'm a mother, so I don't usually really go into it heavy. It's like Morticia Addams or something, which I admire Morticia Addams for that. But maybe one day I'll get more into that and look kind of how I want to look. But yeah, I mean, I love monsters, I love mythology, I love all that stuff. So writing in that kind of vein always is my thing. And then romance, I always add romance into it. So that's kind of how I get into my real meat of my stories is like romance and love and all that stuff. I feel is really big part of what I write, other than like I do write about grief and trauma and how to not get over that. That's not a really good word. That's not really a good way to put it. More like how to process grief and trauma and how we can, relate to each other. And anger is a big part of that too, and how we can process anger and how we can relate to each other with that too. So, stuff like that. I am proud of that story. I also am proud of the Half Paper Moon. That did not get a top story, but that got a lot of hearts, and that also got a lot of reads. And I am currently working to get that one published. I have that with several publishers.
Ward, what kind of writer are you?
I think I talked about that before in the thing. I'm a writer who just wants to get better. I'm a serious writer. You look at me, and I quit my job when I was 56 years old to become a writer, and I'm 61 now, so that's 5 years. I have made very little money. It's hard work to write. It's harder to write well. It's harder still to write something that people want to read that's good, and it's harder still to write something that's good that people want to read that someone's going to pay you money for. I don't like to be sloppy with words. I don't like to waste them. I don't like to be I don't want my writing to be overwrought. I want it to be simple and straightforward, and at the same time, so I'm a writer now that is learning to be a writer, and that is definitely a curve, but I hope I'm getting better at it, and hopefully I will be able to say I'm a professional writer.
Mr. Joe Patterson, what motivates you to write?
I could easily say it's my mother, because she was where I got my writing ability from because of how much she used to make me and my sisters write when we were kids. And then I would also say my life experiences out in the world, places I've been, people I've met. I've always meshed that into my stories. I also have to say all the entertainment I love. My favorite songwriters, my favorite film writers, my favorite book writers. These are all the people that have me like, I gotta make those type of stories because those were the stories that I grew up that blew me away. Or the way my mother had me writing, it was as if she was prepping me for a future she didn't know and maybe I didn't know I was gonna have at the time. And that's where I got my biggest inspiration from, starting with her, but then also all the great times I had with her going out in the world, and then all of the favorite entertainment that I have. My favorite songwriters, my favorite musicians, my favorite filmmakers, people who wrote all the books I read growing up. Those are definitely the biggest inspirations for me in regards to being a writer. I can honestly say I wouldn't be as great a writer I am, and I wouldn't have the mind for writing that I have if it hadn't been for those guys.
Okay, Melissa, what do you feel success as a writer looks like?
It's really about your repertoire. What exactly do you want to showcase to the world? Do you want to showcase your poems? Do you want to showcase your short stories? Do you want to showcase your novel, your debut novel? Do you want that to be shown to the world? Or do you want to write a bunch of essays on art history or science or medicine? What exactly is your goal? And if you want that to be shown and you get a contract with a prestigious, organization online or through a university or something like that to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, this is my goals, and I want, this is the contract that I need in order for my projects to be showcased in a way that a lot of people can see it. That's where I feel like that's where success starts to shine, because you can start, getting paid for your passions and stuff. I feel is important. Even just getting your stuff out there sometimes is always important. I feel like even if you're not getting paid a whole lot, or if it's just a little bit, it doesn't so much matter about how much you're getting paid. It's about getting your stuff out there, and that's really what I think success is. And not letting anyone or anything stop you.
Well, that wraps things up, and I thank you very much, Melissa, Ward, and Joe, for being my guests this week. You all did such a great job, and I'm a big fan of all of your writing, and I wish you the very best in the future and that you achieve all your goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Rick. I hope for a lot of success too, for Joe and Melissa and for yourself. I appreciate being on your podcast. I look forward to it. And it's been very, very nice meeting you and talking with you in this platform and beyond. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you for having us.
Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.